So hello everyone, welcome to our marketing and product development workshop. Uh, a quick reminder that this workshop will be recorded and shared out in the Google Drive. So we will be recording this. And my name is Nathan Zhang. I am a sophomore at Interlake High School.
I'm Serena, and I'm a junior at Interlake.
And we're going to go ahead and get started with our workshop. So a quick agenda of what we are going to be going over today. We will first introduce what marketing is, then we will introduce the 4 C's of marketing, and then we will have you try your own. We will be giving you an example product for the hackathon with a different theme, and then you will try to create your own sales pitch, a short marketing 1 minute or less marketing example that you can try it yourself and we can provide some feedback.
So, what is marketing and why do people want to market their product? So, as you see on the screen, marketing is the activity or set of institutions and processes for creating, communicating, delivering, and exchanging offerings that have value for customers, clients, partners, and society at large. So, essentially, marketing is just where like a group of people or even one person is trying to get their product, their service out to like the consumers. And like through this process, there's a lot of people involved so that like these people will be interested in what this group or this one person has to offer for everybody. Cool. So here's this marketing strategy that we think is really applicable to the presentations that you will be doing on Monday. There's a bunch of other different marketing strategies, but we're zoning in on this one, which is called the 4 C's of marketing. So essentially, the 4 C's of marketing is it's an acronym of 4 words that start with a C. And so they stand for clarity, credibility, consistency, and competitiveness. So clarity is really just how clear is your marketing about your product? Like, do people really understand like what the product is supposed to do or the service is supposed to do? Like, is it really clear to them um, what these group of people, or this one person is trying to offer? And then credibility is where, in marketing, um, the credibility of that group of people or that one person is really established. This helps the consumers really be more willing to trust the people or the group of people and to actually use their product. And then consistency is the quality or fact of having parts that agree with each other. Typically in marketing, um, the people who are providing the service or product will stake claims like, oh, this is the number one product, or this is the best product out there among all of its competitors, right? So consistency is really does the um, does the actual product or service actually live up to all the claims that are stated about this product or service? Um, in part, because it's consistent, the marketing is consistent. It also helps establish credibility that the companies know what they're talking about and that like their claims are actually realistic and not just like bragging or showing off an overstatement of the product. And then competitiveness is really the quality of being as good or as better or better than others of a comparable nature. And this competitiveness really what draws people in to use that one specific service over all the other services or products. Competitiveness when marketing is really the highlight point of why this product is really unique and why the consumer should really use this one product compared to all the other products.
Okay, so for to basically show off how all of these 4 C's can be found inside of marketing, here we have a sale pitch example. And for those of you who don't know what a sale pitch is, it's basically a pitch that you can make about an item or a business very quickly so that it doesn't take too much of the person who you're talking to's time, but it gets all of your points through. So we found this sale pitch example online. Quickly reading it out. Working with over 500 of the UK's leading business thinkers and achievers, people just like you and me, we have developed a proven, structured, and highly flexible business change program called the Business Edge Program. It's not rocket science, and it doesn't contain any glib answers, but it does contain some of the most powerful questions you can ever ask yourself. Questions that will help you discover new ways to get to your business and life back under control. In other words, questions that will help you find that better way you've always wanted. So, going back to clarity, how can you really make sure that that when you're marketing, you are being clear? There's a few questions that you can ask yourself. Is it clear what problem you are solving? Is it clear what your solution is and how it functions? And is it clear how your solution solves the problem? So going back to the sales pitch example, can anyone see some specific phrases or statements in the sales pitch that show that it is clear and it answers some of the questions from the previous slide? You can just drop them in the chat. And I'll give you about 1 to 2 minutes to look over the example again.
So Miss Zhang said in the chat, called the Business Edge program. So yes, this is a portion of clarity in that it's really communicating to the consumers what this product is and what it's called. It's called the Business Edge program. So it's really clear to the consumers, um, like about like what the program might be about, right? Because it says business, so it might be like more about like a program that's more about business, like a so it's definitely a component, the Business Edge program.
Amani, you're unmuted. Do you have something to say or was it an accident? Okay. So yeah, moving on to the next slide, some of the clarity pieces that we decided that we thought were that related to clarity were a business change program called the Business Edge program, which Ms. Jiang or I think Justin said in the chat. And another thing was questions that will help you discover new ways to get your business and life back under control. And this relates to clarity because it covers what the project or business is trying to solve. It makes it really clear so that you don't have to read between the lines or anything.
So next is credibility. And credibility, some questions that you can really ask is who is advocating for the product? Is the person or the group of people really credible? Can they be trusted? And does the party seem like they know what they're talking about? Like, do they know their product instead of just, I guess, reading off of a script or just like being fed information that they just like reciprocate and like recall like verbatim. So um, this is like credibility, which is like a really important part in establishing the trust between the consumers and the people providing the service or product. So going back to our sales pitch example, can anybody find examples where this company is trying to, I guess, build their credibility and get the people to trust them more? You can respond in the chat or you can speak into your microphone too. Yeah, so I see two people in the chat that says, that's highlighting the part where it says working with over 500 of the UK's leading business thinkers and achievers. So, yes, the statement does help establish credibility in that the company is really just staking the claim of they've helped a bunch of people so they can help uh, the person who's reading this pitch too. So with like these statistics of over 500 people, it really helps like paint a picture that the company has actually helped a lot of people and is really knowledgeable in helping these people. Are there any other instances that you might see in the sales pitch example? Cool, then I guess we can reveal what we thought were some places where they established credibility. So yes, the most prominent example would be over 500 people, over 500 of the UK's leading business thinkers and achievers. So that is like the really blatant and explicit part where they establish credibility. Of course, like there might be like a little bit of credibility and like relatability established in the rest of the sales pitch, but it's not as prominent, right? Like um, we have developed a proven, structured, and highly flexible business change program. So like that's establishing credibility and that um, these companies or this company is really stating that they worked through the problem they've developed and gone through every single process or every single stage of the process. But this part is not as explicit in terms of credibility. It's just proving that they have done the work, that because they've done the work, then consumers can really trust these people because they've done the work and they know what they're talking about.
Okay, great. So the third C is consistency. And the questions you can ask yourself is, are claims about the product consistent? Is the uniqueness and innovative aspects of the solution constantly highlighted? And is all information presented relevant to the topic at hand? So looking at the sales pitch example, I guess either you can type in the chat or unmute yourself, talk about some of the parts where the innovative aspects are highlighted, or you can try to prove that this isn't consistent by providing examples of contradictory statements or if there is unrelevant information. So you can choose one of those two to look for within the sale pitch example. And then I'll give you 1 or 2 minutes to look for these. Okay, so not really seeing anything in the chat. So one example of consistency would include, Andrew said it states how it's not rocket science, which connects with customers, as everyday people. So yes, it does relate to the overall how the business is trying to connect with the people, and they further this connection by saying it's not rocket science, showing that it is available to everybody. It also says purpose help questions help your life and business. So questions that you can ask yourself, stuff that you've always wanted. So all of this connects together. There's a huge focus on the questions. The business often goes back to the questions like powerful questions, questions to help you discover, and questions that will help you find a better way. So, yep, these are all great examples of consistency. So, what we decided to highlight is, and it doesn't contain any glib answers, but it does contain some of the powerful questions you can ever ask yourself. And this highlights some of the main aspects and the innovative aspects that the solution is trying to highlight. The fact that it gets straight to the point and there's no unnecessary answers, and it can help you ask some of the most important questions, and it contains all of that, and there isn't any contradictory statements to that elsewhere in this sales pitch.
And lastly, of the four C's is competitiveness. So some questions you can ask is, how is the solution or product competitive in the market? What is really unique about this product? And why should people use this product or service instead of some other product that's of a similar nature? So looking back at our sales pitch, oh, okay. What are some examples of that you can find of where the company is really highlighting how their product is unique? I'm not seeing anything in the chat, so I'll give one example to help you think this through. So it says, and it doesn't contain any glib answers. So this really proves how like the Business Edge program is really down to the point and is really helpful in that like it doesn't have any glib answers or like arbitrary answers that aren't really helpful to the people who are using this program. This also does imply that some competitors um, of the same nature do contain glib answers in their program. So it really differentiates that this Business Edge program doesn't have any glib answers compared to the other programs that other companies might have developed that might contain these answers that aren't really helpful. And then Freya says, questions that will help you to discover new ways to get your business and life back under control. So yeah, so this is definitely an instance where the company is highlighting the uniqueness of their product and that they're trying to highlight that this program is really has answers that are really innovative and like think things through in a different light to really help the consumers discover new ways to get your business and life back under control. So, yes, this is definitely an instance where the company is highlighting the competitiveness. So, I think we can do a reveal of our answers. So, yeah, it says we got most of them. We also highlighted, but it does contain some of the most powerful questions you can ever ask yourself. So in this instance, the company is really highlighting how like the questions are really questions. The questions answered in the Business Edge program are really questions that the consumers ask themselves like almost like every day. These are really common answers or common questions that are answered in the Business Edge program that a lot of people ask. So this really helps differentiate the Business Edge program, and that some other programs might have answers to questions that aren't really common or aren't really asked a lot by the consumers. So the Business Edge program does highlight that these questions answer or these questions that are answered in the program are really questions that are relatable to like many consumers, which makes it more unique. Yeah.
So quickly going back to the 4 Cs, the sales pitch example that is here on the screen does contain all 4 of these marketing Cs: clarity, credibility, consistency, and competitiveness. So this is a pretty good example of a sales pitch, which is something you might want to use as an, I guess, demo or example for something, for a sales pitch that you might want to give about your project. So for your presentations tomorrow, it won't be as short as a sales pitch since you will have 8 minutes to cover everything in your project, but you still want to make sure you're relating back to these 4 Cs. You want to make sure that your solution and how you are connecting your solution to the question you're trying to solve is emphasized. You also want to make sure you're credible, you have some additional research or something to back up everything you are doing. Make sure you are being consistent so your project can do everything that you claim it can do. And also make sure it shows competitiveness, how it is similar but better than other things that are currently existing. So make sure you connect back to these 4 Cs during your presentation tomorrow. So moving on to our final part of this workshop, which is the product example. This theme comes from a different hackathon, which is natural disasters. And the issue that the team settled on was after natural disasters, such as storms or pandemics, some people may need extra assistance in gathering resources, such as groceries. And the solution that they created was to create a website that can connect people willing to help and those who need help. And through this website, contact information such as phone number, email, the location of both the helper and the person who needs help, and what kind of help the person who needs help is will also be provided on the website, which can help connect people to get these people who need help the help that they actually need by people who are in a relatively close proximity. So for this example, I'm going to give you 3 minutes or so to create a 1 minute or less sales pitch for the given solution, and make sure you incorporate the 4 Cs, which are clarity, credibility, consistency, and competitiveness. And you don't have to share your sales pitch if you don't want to, but it is the perfect opportunity for us to give you some feedback so you are better prepared for tomorrow's presentation.
Wait, Nathan, does the website work? Do you want to demonstrate the website and have them get a better understanding of what it is?
Let me double check to see if it works. Okay. So for this website, you can input some basic information such as name, phone number, and then there's going to be 2 options, whether you need help or you can help. And then how many people do you need for your help, such as If it's something as small as groceries, then you might only need one person. But if you need more than one person for a larger job, such as, I guess, helping around in the house or something like that, you can put more people. And if you do I need help, you can also have additional messages such as I need groceries. And once you submit, your marker will be placed on the map and people can see where you are. And this is using, this will track your location, which the user will have to say, yes, I agree to my location being exposed. Or you can do a manual location, so you can input an address that or coordinates that are close to your location, but is not directly your house, that you can meet up with them. And once you submit all of this information, a marker will appear. And once you click on the marker, it'll give you all the information such as name, phone number, people needed, the numbers of people who are currently helping them, and then how many are currently helped by, how far you are from the person who needs help, and the distance. So if I open this on a different site, and let's say Serena would like to give some help. So she can do I can help, and then they can give a message such as I am available on the weekends, and then submit. And then if I do like 100, 100, submit. Okay. So over here is Nathan needs help. Okay. And then if we reload the people, here we can see Nathan needs help. And once you click on it, you can click help user, and then it'll show number of people helped will be 1, and it is currently being helped by Serena. And it also shows the distance, which which Serena is all the way up here. And up here, I think it's in Antarctica or something. But yeah, that is a quick demonstration of this website.
So using this information will give you about until 11:35 to really develop like a sales pitch, a 1-minute sales pitch that you can talk about like for this website that we just showed you. So we will reconvene at 11:35. And if you have any questions, you can always drop them in the chat and we will type out our answers.
So does anybody have, or would anybody be willing to share a sales pitch that they thought of in the last 5 minutes? Okay. If not, that's fine. I'm going to quickly say some of the things that I would include in a sales pitch. I'm not going to give an actual sales pitch. I'll just cover some of the things I would mention for each of the 4 Cs. So for the first C, clarity, which is how clear your solution is, I would make sure to highlight the issue, start off the presentation kind of with a small, or the sales pitch with a small statement about how natural disasters can affect a bunch of people and it causes a bunch of damage and people will need extra help. And I would emphasize the solution and I would continually tie the solution back to how it solves the issue. For example, the website will provide people the help that they need. For credibility, I guess something I could include is you have the option to choose your manual location if you are worried that the app is tracking your data, something like that. The website is required to ask you whether or not they can use your location. And if not, there is also the manual location for you to meet up at a different spot. For consistency, I would, I guess, continually talk about uh, how important this website is and how it is able to connect a bunch of people and get people the help that they need. And then for competitiveness, there are a bunch of apps on this. So I guess one thing that is different is most apps, I believe, they just use your phone's location. So you could talk about the manual location. You could also talk about how you can it shows the distance by marking it with a red line so you can easily see how far you would need to travel and what you would need to do in order to provide the person with the help that they need. So those are basically some of the things that I would include for the 4 Cs for this product example. Serena, do you have anything to add? Some Cs you might, some additional stuff you might include?
I think you covered it pretty well, and I think something that we can really highlight is that the website is relatively simple to use. Nathan really demonstrated like how we can just ask for help and find help within like I would say like 45 seconds. Like him filling out all the information and everything. So that is something that we can really highlight in this sales pitch if we were to do one. And that like the website is really easy to use, even for people who aren't really tech savvy or I guess who aren't as knowledgeable in how to use apps on their phone. This is like a really like a go-to website that can really just directly connect people with each other, like without any hidden gadgets or hidden fees or anything. It's just very simple and easy to use.
Yeah, yeah. So with those, I guess, suggestions or stuff you could use for the 4 Cs, would anybody like to share their sales pitch example? If not, that's also fine. Okay, so that is all we have for this workshop. So remember for your presentation tomorrow, make sure you include all of these 4 Cs. And if you're able to use all of these 4 Cs in your presentation, the judges will, it covers most of the judges' questions so that they won't have to ask some questions that you might not have thought of. A lot of the judging questions will probably have to do with your credibility or the competitiveness, how it compares to other companies or pre-existing products. So be sure to include all of these 4 Cs. And other than that, we will have some time for you to ask questions about our workshop or just in general if you have some questions, concerns about the hackathon as well. Uh, we will stay behind for these questions. If not, that is the end of our workshop. Thank you so much for coming.
We can also help you out with your presentation if you have your